Welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JM International. Get ready to explore conversations with those making a difference through music.
Hello, and welcome everyone to the JM Jeunesse Musicale podcast, a global network of NGOs that empowers young people through music across all boundaries. Today, we're at the JM International office in Brussels. My name is Ricardo, and I'll be your host. And for this episode, I'm joined by Emma Demoor from Ventus. This young band from Ghent won the 2021 edition of JMI's Imagine with their dreamy pop rock. Imagine is an international all-styles competition and training program for young musicians between the ages of 13 and 21. Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell me a bit about Ventus? How did the band start? How did you meet?
So Ventus is actually already quite old. We started it when we were like about 13, 14 years old. We were in high school, and Gonzalo, the other frontman of the band and the singer and also key player, came to me and he was like, yeah, I really want to start a band. It seems so cool to me to do that with you, because we're at school together, because we were together at high school, and we can practice here and learn here and this and that. And I was immediately in on it, and I thought, yeah, let's do it. So we started writing a couple of songs, did a couple of silly covers. It all started with like a typical love ballads, that kind of thing. But I'm very glad we started there, and we grew a lot from there. So, yeah.
After it started, how did Ventus become what it is today? Like a bigger band?
That's a long story, actually. So we first started as a duo, Gonzalo and me. We played a lot of gigs. We also recorded some music and put it on SoundCloud. Not Spotify yet, because we knew like we're not there yet to release something on Spotify already at that age. And then we were still at high school together in Ghent, Muda. We were studying music, so more people came into the class, more musicians, young musicians, and that's how we found Tail, our guitar player, and Rune, the drum player, and we matched almost instantly, and we needed them, so that's how the first part of the group fell together a bit. First we had another bass player than we have now. We had Taron, also from high school, but eventually he quit it because he wanted to do some other stuff with his music. But luckily, we met Sander, our bass player now. And we met him at school also, but not high school, now in the Conservatory of Ghent, Kask, where a lot of us are studying now. Except for Rune, the drum player, he's in Antwerp, jazz drums. And I was like, Sander, we really need a bass player. We really need to complete our band, Ventus, again. Would it be something for you? And he was instantly like super enthusiastic, and he was like, yes, let's do this. Okay, come on. And that's how we became who we are today.
Origin story.
Yes, long story, but yeah.
And can you tell me about the name Ventus?
Yeah, well, actually, the name also exists since the very beginning. So we were just, Gonzalo and me, just Googling a bit and playing on Google Translate, like words that related to our music, floaty, dreamy, and in Latin it meant Ventus. So that's how we came with the name Ventus, and we liked it, so we just kept it, and we still like it, so that's great.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
And you were already kind of describing it, flowy, dreamy. For the people that, shame on them, haven't yet listened to Ventus, what kind of music do you make? How would you describe it?
Well, I would describe it as dreamy pop rock. The rock part is very recent because, as I said, we started out with like very slow love ballads, but that kind of flew into more dreamy vibe. And eventually also now on our latest album we have also some rock influences, and we really want to dig in deeper into that. So yeah, I would say dreamy pop rock.
And what would you say are the musical inspirations?
Well, there are a few big ones for me personally, because I write like the lyrics and the melodies together with Gonzalo. Like mostly we write the basics, and we are very big fans of Oh Wonder and Portland. And Portland is actually a Belgian band. Yeah, just very nice music, very touching music, and a very big inspiration for Ventus.
Then I will share a story. I was just showing your music to the interns here, and they say, "Oh, it's kind of like Oh Wonder."
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, we heard it before, but also when people say that, we're happy. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
And I'm curious, you're in a band with 5 people. How does that process go of making songs together? Who decides what? How does that kind of happen?
Well, so as I said, mostly I write the lyrics and like the vocal melody, and I have Gonzalo next to me who can like help me with the chords and with chord progressions, because I'm not the best at that. I try. Sometimes I do get a nice progression, but I like it when I can work together with someone, because that way it's way more. I don't know. It's more special in a way. So mostly Gonzalo and me do that as the beginning of a song, and then we call the band in and they make their own parts and complete the song a bit, like the arrangement. But we also have like a song on our latest album, Gloria, the song which actually is the more rocky song, and that existed purely through jam sorta. And yeah, we were just experimenting with some synthesizers because we love synthesizers, and yeah, just jamming, and then a song kind of grew out of that. So it really depends. Most of the time, it's me and Gonzalo who come with an idea, and the band makes an arrangement around it. But sometimes it can also be really a song from all 5 of us. It's just we're also still finding our way in that songwriting. We try to be as experimental as possible, and everyone can come up with ideas, but you know, sometimes it's just in our comfort zone to do it that way.
And do you always agree as a band, or is there also sometimes that someone says, "I really don't see this going anywhere"?
Actually, a lot of times, yeah. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so when there's a melody like stuck in my head or an idea that I really like, I don't like it when they try to change it too much, but I have to be more open to it, because that's how many beautiful things are created, by just inspiring each other and listening to each other. So sometimes when me and Gonzalo have wrote like a bass and they say, "Oh, we don't like that," I'm like, really? Do you really want to change that? Seriously? A little bit like that. But also when they don't like something, they will say it also. They will say, "I don't like that, nope." But that's the hard part of being like a 5-headed band, and really all 5 have the same kind of voice. We can all say what we want because we work with 5. It's not like me and Gonzalo have more to say or something. We all have an equal voice in the band. So yeah, at that point, it's sometimes a bit hard to agree on everything, especially when you're with 5. But we try to make it work.
So what do you do if somebody really does not agree?
We find a way out. We try to find a compromise or some sort of thing, or make something fully new that we both agree on. There are always ways out, I think. When you're adult, you can speak it out. Maybe when we were younger, but yeah, then it was only me and Gonzalo, so that wasn't that big of a problem. But we're getting older, so it has to work. Yeah, we did get a lot of warnings earlier. Oh, you're really gonna start a band with 5? Aren't you scared? Because if you fall apart or if you have a fight, the whole band can die. And I was kind of scared of that at first, but now I feel like we're getting there.
And what I really liked from your answer was the kind of, you reflected on the fact that sometimes you have this really nice bass line and you really don't want to change it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes to make something great, you have to be open to that. Like, what do you do? What is a tip for other musicians who you don't want people to touch it, but maybe they have something that makes it even better?
Yeah, it's like your little baby, you
Exactly.
know? It's like sometimes we also had a tough time with me and Gonzalo not being the leaders anymore of the band and having to take a step back. But that's what makes the project so beautiful. It grows and it keeps growing if it's not only your idea. Because I'm not saying your ideas are limited, but it can go so much further with other people's opinions on it. And I think for other musicians in the world, it's really important to keep that in mind, that you can always learn from people and they can and will make your music better, even if it already sounds perfect in your head. Maybe for another listener, it will sound even more perfect when you have different kind of inputs in the music. So yeah.
How do you make sure that the band also stays together as a band? Like, do you all share the same dreams or ambitions, or how do you manage that?
Well, I think the answer to that is that we are all really close friends. So we see each other a lot, and we also try to keep that friendship alive, because sometimes when you're practicing and always practicing, you forget that you also are just very close friends, and you can't forget that because it's what makes Ventus also so beautiful. It was brought us together. So I think it's very important that we have to keep the friendship alive in order to keep the 5 of us close together.
Yeah, that sounds very important.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the basis.
Yeah, some bands don't have that and are like have session players and are just there for the music. But I think what makes Ventus so Ventus is that we are friends, and you can also see that in our shows. The people that come and watch, also a lot of them are also our friends because we have a mutual friend group, and it makes the vibe just so much easygoing, and I don't know, I like it like that.
Yeah, and I've seen your show a few times, and I can say that really shows out to the world as well. That friendship, that kind of spirit of togetherness, that's really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And in the pre-talk before this interview, you also mentioned that there's sometimes practical problems, like, for example, writers split or who takes credit for what. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, well, as I say, we are still growing as a band, as a group, and making new songs right now. That's a big thing for us right now. Writing a lot of new songs and trying it in a lot of new different ways. But for our previous album, that actually isn't that old yet, you can always check it out, by the way. It's called Parts of Us. And there was a little discussion around the authority rights around it, and like the songwriting rights in particular, like who did what and who did more there and there. But it's like, if you look at it very precisely, there's always going to be a little discussion about it. And there are a lot of songs that are still from the old days of Ventus, so still from Gonzalo and me, that they only just added a few things to, just made it fuller. And then me and Gonzalo were like, yeah, I do think, because first we were planning on dividing it all equally, but then we felt like it just felt a little bit not right with us to do it like that. But I also felt guilty about that, because I was like, I love the band and I do think that they are important, but I don't want to put myself somewhere behind, because I do think that I did work a lot on it, and I did wrote a lot of parts, a lot of important parts, a lot of the bass of the songs, and I thought, yeah, we just have to speak about that and about the feeling I have. And in the beginning, they didn't all agree. They were like, yeah, but I played that. But I said, yeah, okay, you did that, but that's not what the songwriting rights stand for. That's not what it means. It's about the bass of a song. And then eventually they agreed with me, and they were like, okay, it's okay. You get a little bit more, maybe not 50, and we this, we a little bit, just a little bit, but okay, we'll give you a bit of the credits you deserve for that. But we did agree also on in the future that we will try to write more every one of the band and not just me and Gonzalo or
Yeah, but it sounds really healthy that you discuss it in that way. Because I can imagine that if you do something and somehow it feels right, but also not, it keeps just lingering in the background.
Yes.
And then one day it comes out.
Well, yeah, I wanted to sort that out before it was too late and it was already written down and everything. It's just, now it feels much more fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Let's talk a bit about Imagine, because you and I met 2 years ago, a little bit less, because I gave a workshop at Imagine, and you won that year. Tell me, how was that? And
yeah,
what has
how
Imagine
was
meant?
it? I always say it was better than I could ever imagine, because it really was. I thought, okay, little competition, let's go. But when we arrived, it was so full of richness, like so many lovely people from all over the world. Well, yeah, the international finale then. And the workshops and the people there, you could learn so much. And also from your workshop, we also learned a lot. Thank you for that once again.
Thank you.
Like, because music is so much more than just the music you make. There comes so many stuff with it, and you also have to learn about that, because otherwise you won't be all in on it, because we Ventus are an independent band and we need stuff like that, workshops like that, to educate and to be able to understand the whole music industry and this and that. And we learned that through Imagine, but we also learned how to play a gig on like a big stage with a lot of different kinds of people, and that was also an experience we will never forget. But also like the sleeping in a hostel with all the other participants was also very nice. We even met some friends from Norway. We already visited Norway and they will probably come to Belgium this summer, so it was like a very rich experience. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And what did you do in Norway? Will there be any musical collaborations, or was it merely friendship?
It was this was the first trip we did, so it was merely friendship. But we think in the future, like when they come to here, we want to try to fix a gig together. That would be nice. But yeah, we're still waiting for some confirmations and stuff. So we would like to maybe in the future do some collabs or whatever, because our music also has similarities.
Yeah.
Our music has some similarities. So yeah, that would be nice.
Nice. And so after Imagine, so you won 2 years ago. I know you came back last year because I was there, and I saw you again. I actually hosted you that time, which was fun. How was that to come back there, and what happened after?
Oh, I loved it to be back to play on that stage again. It was a very nice gig, and yeah, I was glad to be back, to feel the vibe again, to see all the new young artists coming in and see what they were doing. I also really liked the winner. I think it was WOB then. Yes, I also liked it. So yeah, just like a moment of nostalgia, a little moment of nostalgia, little moment reunited with friends. And yeah, it was also funny to see like the poster of Imagine and see like our former bass player on it. It was also funny. So really like a nostalgic feeling. Yeah.
And I know that you released an album not so long ago, because I was there at the release party in Ghent. How was that, and how did that album came to be? How was
Well,
the response be?
we actually did get a lot of help from you, so thanks for that. With the marketing and stuff, because that was a big deal for us. Like the release show had to be big, and we did it in the Charlatan in Ghent, one of my favorite places to party. So I think, okay, we are going to throw our release party there. It has to be. But so we wanted to make a lot of promotion around it, and like stories, and invite people. That was our main goal for the release party, and so we did that. We printed flyers, posters. We did some boosting on our Instagram stories, and we did manage to get the place full. So we were very happy with that, and they kept coming. We were actually in the backstage looking at the little TV, and we saw the people coming in. And at first we were scared, like, oh my God, what if it didn't work? What if not a lot of people will show up, or not enough people? Because you want the place to be full on your release party. You want to make it a big thing, because it was our first album ever, like our debut. So we were really looking forward to it, and we worked really hard for it. And then we saw that the people kept coming, and some people didn't even get in, and we were like, oh my God, so nice. And again, as I said a bit earlier, the friendship vibes, a lot of friends, but also some people that weren't friends but immediately stepped up in the same vibe. So that was a really nice feeling. They really helped us to give the best of ourselves on that show, and that also made the album a success for me. Yeah.
And what is the dream? Like, what are you dreaming of for Ventus?
For Ventus, I have multiple dreams, I think.
Share them all.
First of all, if I look a little bit more closer, I want a lot of gigs in the summer, but we don't have them already because we're, as I said, focusing on a lot of new music and trying out some new stuff. There also has to be room to do that. But I would like to have some nice gigs in the summer, out in the sun. Like last year, we played at Gentse Feesten. That was also a very fun experience. We are trying to arrange that again. So if you want to see us live or even book us live, we are called Ventus Official. Yeah, Ventus Official _ on Instagram, and just Ventus on Facebook and Spotify. So that's, I think, my first little dream. But then if you look at the big dreams, I think maybe playing in the venues that we played with in at Imagine, like Botanique, very lovely venue, Beaux-Arts, also just insane to play there. Maybe one day we can be there again. I hope so. It's my dream. And I also think like radio stuff, like radio projects. I'm also really looking forward to that. Maybe also some managers, some real managers. No offense to the momagers because they're doing great, but some real managers one day to like make Ventus a real thing and like a statement. I think that is a big dream of mine.
What is the most difficult part of being an independent artist trying to make it?
I think time mostly, and just the right motivation, because we are with 5 and we split like the tasks a bit, but that doesn't always go as planned. Some people are having exams or this and that because it isn't their full-time job to do that extra little things for Ventus. But I think that as an independent artist without like a manager already, we do have to make the time and have the motivation to be able to succeed. And I think we have to keep that in mind, that it is for ourselves that we do this, the music, it is for our friends, for the people. So it is a beautiful thing and it's worth the work. And one day, if a booker sees us, that'll be that. So we don't have to be scared to be independent right now because we're doing a great job.
And if there's any young artists listening out there, maybe even to friends in high school that want to start a band, What would be the one advice you would give them?
I think just start. I think that's a big thing. Just start, take it step by step. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just start, and then you already have like a nice little base and a nice set of motivation. So then you will certainly get there with the right skills and with the right mindset.
And you already mentioned new music. What can we expect? What kind of music is coming? And do you know when it's coming already?
Well, when I think we will record some songs this summer. Right now we're doing a lot of demos. But I think after summer, around that, we will start dropping some singles, and then later maybe another big album, but that's for later. First the singles. And the music itself is, as I said, a dreamy pop rock with a little bit more of the rock aspects, and we are currently trying to give our music a little bit more body, so I hope you can also hear that in the newest Ventus songs.
And one more time, where can people find you? Where can they listen to your music, for example?
Well, on Spotify, actually on all streaming services, you can find Ventus very easily, I hope. So, yes, you should find it there.
The listeners can, of course, not see what we're seeing, but not only as one of the mall managers here, we also have somebody from our film crew, because I heard they're shooting a documentary. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Well, he actually saw us in the Charlatan, the big release party, and also through friends, like we know each other a little bit, and he just wrote us, and he was like, yes, I'm doing this kind of film project. I'm following some young artists who are in the clothing industry, but also music industry and art industry. Do you want me to follow you also and involve you in my little documentary? And we were super enthusiastic. We thought, yes, nice. That's really what we could use, because it's nice to be doing a lot of stuff, not only live gigs and online music, but also like some things like this, some podcasts, some documentaries, like helping other young artists out. It's very nice, and I'm very curious where the documentary will go, because he has already been at some serious meetings of ours, and I'm hoping we don't look too mad there. So yeah, I'm excited where it will take us.
So do you know when the documentary will be released and where we can find it?
Well, in September there will be a private screening, but then later after you can find the documentary called Eureka, by the way, on all platforms.
And as always, what is the power of music?
For me, the power of music is expression. I think when you are a musician who makes music, you use it as a tool to express yourself and to really let that deep feelings of yourself out in a beautiful way, because music is just so beautiful. Also for the listener, the listener can usually relate to a lot of your music and to a lot of the lyrics you write or the riffs you write. The listener can relate, and again, for me, that's a sort of way of expression and expressing your emotions and your creativity in the most beautiful way, I think. So yeah, there's a lot of power in music.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. If you want more information about JM or would like to get involved, visit www.jmi.net. where you can find more information and look for national member organizations. Or go to www.mubazar.com to get an overview of all the amazing opportunities for musicians. It would mean a lot to us if you could give us 1 minute of your time and review and rate this podcast. And in case you have any suggestions, please feel free to reach out to us through the JMI social.